아주 다고 타지한테나라 아주电把 设备 求救 现在这层电路出来电把 设备 상부 电把 设备 求救 그 상태 주체 니로 소환 我这天就差不多在这个可是咱们教程这情况咱们教程我听到了他电把 设备 求救 我的
So
就开始那两是那样的绑架的是做电过呀他爬绑过呀还是写过呀可以起过的这个电把 设备 求救 这个有点难到
So in our text, Precious Garland of the Sublime Path. So we completed the last section, and now we come to the third section, which are 10 things on which you should depend. So here we're speaking about things first, things that we should abandon or give up, and then now we're talking about things that we should adopt or things that we should depend on.
咱唐伯电把设备求救提唐伯这多话突击长电备那么长把电把设是他那么多话我的在过来是他多话几个我们这个嘛的上突击长电把是但是老马的在话有生前的在话我真的突击长电把是电过来是
So the first one of those 10, the first one in that section is the 10 things on which you should depend. And the first of that is depend on a sublime guru who is realized and compassionate. So the guru has to be someone who is highly realized, but that alone is not enough. And the guru must also have great compassion and love for the disciples, for all sentient beings.
先生但从嘛那么的那么这个然后那这个那么的给为你电把设备的给为你电要开始先那么自己长电把是电过来是 马托这个让多学生先把这个嘛是多学生这让别强的是让就说培育几分钟这样的出混钟我听着这种这样先把生的这上本家中我这他也让年轻人中的我听着这他这那么的这个这你马上这个嘛的也是我真的让多学这几个这个嘛的是这你点那的这个话我这你嘛点那他这个嘛的也是那么是吧点吧没变是
And so first that guru has to be someone who can guide us, a spiritual teacher, friend, and it must be a qualified guru possessing certain characteristics, and that is for one that he must not be someone who is kind of leaning toward one side, like having a one-side bias toward one's own kind. For example, if he may support like someone from his own like homeland more, or a personal friend, someone who is close to him, and so on. So that is not a qualified guru that one should rely on, and such a biases towards the side, when one has that, one cannot really benefit.
真的他这那面去参与的接着他只要就参与这块的这个啊他我就是聪明人是那面参与开始总有的是我真的当不他就是参与这块的人他这对岸的人他别想对岸的行那对岸那开始总是对吧什么叫是这个对岸什么叫那开始 수천 대한다 현 뇌에 초가해봐. 또 수천 당대한 거스. 소다르게 봐 수천 당대만. 어딘 뇌에 초가도 신기한. 내바는 인생 코르사바 내반다고 대차 차와. 나 차와는 이나 저 견디키는 내반다고 저절로 인생 와요. 我操吧我真就的上这个片头呢对了那这么就上这个片头出来了对顺动把它的那么啊这个推开对过呢这对这片头有把它的凶了这那么那有的也是对吧呢
And so then those qualities that make a guru a qualified guru are explained in the in first of all in in the sutras and the causal vehicle of characteristics, and then also it's explained in the secret mantra Vajrayana teaching. So first, regarding how such a qualified guru is defined according to the sutras, it says in the 300 verses of the Vinaya, which belongs to the sutras, it says that, so it lists some of those qualities, and it says that so this guru must possess discipline, ethical discipline, and so he must have a kind of a subdued and disciplined demeanor, being a behavior, and then he must also possess great compassion for example, sick people or needy people, anyone around him, and then he must always make an effort in trying to benefit others, either through the Dharma or through material things. Yeah, so yeah.
근데 다 특별 진보 나다비나 나다 장쇼 선배 조조나这种但后来给你一年特别健通了给把这长袖身边我有做起来不同这是国内一些大我给一年开始就这种特别进步从大的开发有吧长袖身边给但年年的开绿呢做同那么同的我真是国内种吧
And then next it is explained how that Guru secondly is explained from the perspective of the Mahayana teachings. And so regarding the criteria according to the Mahayana teachings, there's a quote from the Bodhicharya Vatara, and there it says that so the ever virtuous spiritual friend must be skilled in the meaning of the Mahayana, so must be well versed in the meaning of the Mahayana, and also must possess the highest discipline of a bodhisattva, and must not forsake this bodhicitta, even at the cost of his life.
他上岸去，他说白的，你上岸去的，都是特别浪漫，他开始说噻，等就车，他等票就有啥哇，等把就没就有车，他经常开始弄些呢，实行对外切路件，什么他实行推吧，等这切路在传统的这里面吧，在实行推吧有吧，提个那个生产过了，没这一点生产过去在，他强你这个生产他就让一在现在，第二特别好嘞。真的俺呢就说些俺是说张二同志的写吧有吧，真的点球来点人家的话，点球是说要不写的，人家点的，这生产上就很这那特别，但是如果这种啥的话。
And then third, there are the criteria according to the Vajrayana secret mantra vehicle or the resultant vehicle. And there's a quote from the Chakrasamvara Tantra, and there it says that the qualified guru must first of all be peaceful and subdued in appearance, must appear peaceful and subdued or calm. Then it says that he must be able to, to grant fearlessness to all sentient beings, and then also must be knowledgeable about the mantra and the various tantras and their application, and also it must be knowledgeable about the treatises, so the different like tantric texts, and he must also be endowed with compassion and see all sentient beings as his child.
真的，你就都这次讲呢，他就说我是老松间就那样，那面娘娘那面确实我的，喇叭中当点的，说是电脑可是喇叭中真出这么个喇叭，对面这个喇叭，我真的他有了写了个喇叭，我提松当点的是，喇叭中就点是就把当点的嘞，他这他妈这娘娘其他不就把当点的， lama nyamna chi tiru ze china ku ba ma nyam de wa te nyam nyong de ze so so nyamna chi ne te nyam nyong de so ma na me na chot wa le so ba.
And then next there is a verse from the like a Vajra verse from the oral transmission, and there it says, so the supreme guru, or the kind of the highest guru, is one that is experienced in the three higher trainings. So those three higher trainings are the training of ethical discipline, the training of samadhi, and the training of wisdom. So you must be experienced in those three higher trainings. And songs, you know. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, and here must possess. Now, so it must be someone who possesses the practice lineage of blessing. So it must be someone who actually possesses personal practice and then can pass on this experience to their disciples. And so, in brief, the guru must be someone who possesses realization and compassion. And regarding realization is the quality that serves the guru's own purpose, and compassion is the quality that serves other beings' purpose. So the guru must possess these two qualities of realization and compassion. And then, so ideally, so there's some three levels to that guru as right realization. So ideally, that guru has a direct experience of reality itself, has seen the nature of how things really are from his own meditation, or in kind of the middling case, in the second case. So and the guru possesses an experience of kind of at the kind of the general nature of things. So he has a kind of experienced it, even if it's not like that direct being within it, but there's an experience of it, and that experience comes from reflection. Or at the very least, a guru must have kind of gained confidence in kind of a knowledge, a confidence in how things really are, the nature of things, and that comes from the wisdom gained from learning, from hearing, and so these qualities are contained within a realized and a compassionate guru.
the Lama Tsini, that's it, Sanji Jumani, Mama Song is. 요리된 다 디나 제 pomochwe 가르종 son do dina chuson tangdian dina lama renbochi seata taburis lama renbochi wa chuson tangdian ma chuson karisena chuson bo karisena shera gona xianji lamna chi ni wa zhen ning je de gona sen qian ge dong a su kon de现在的多半没吧我现地气就嘛现在的多半没吧我这双球呢真的那么我去是他为了种多的这种
And Lord Chigden Songden had said that generally the Buddha spoke extensively about the various qualities of a qualified guru, but he said Chigden Songden said that, but Pamodropa, he summarized them all in three kind of dharmas or three qualities. And if one possesses those three, one is called the precious Lama, precious guru. So the first one of those three is the ability to guide others on the path with wisdom. The second one is the ability to liberate sentient beings from suffering with compassion. And then the third one is to be unattached to the purpose of this life. So if one possesses these three, then one is called a precious guru according to Jigten Sungen and Pagmo Drupa.
但几天中网这种我的对子弹嘛的哟，听到子弹嘛的那个老婆国家推动着是，点把钱呢几天出去过，是吧？他老婆的国话有了国话让我的头皮动不着我的是，点把钱呢几天出去过，是吧？在头皮动不着，可是这国话那芝麻开给了，我到前地气推荐吧，规矩或者是前地气面子，他说曾经前面他们那听干嘛的前地从他那边把这边。这点这几天去吃嘛我红的是开始呢，我好像透过有透过通过人特别做啥就用的是，听这种多。
And Jigten Sungen also said in the Chintamani, he said that a corrupt guru, a corrupt teacher, is like garlic. Huh? Or like a poisonous tree. And so it's a garlic is quite smelly. And so if you're always around garlic, you also begin to smell like garlic. And so when you follow a corrupt guru, then the guru more guides you along the path of worldly things, achieving things that are for this life. But does not bring you to liberation. And so therefore, by relying on a corrupt guru, you're really actually cutting through the life vein, the life force vein of liberation.
真的，咱多少对于那东尼人家宁波汤点呗，这那么咱把点把这东尼人家宁波汤点的，东尼人家宁波多的，那么是大过去的吧？
And so in brief, the guru must be someone who has realized emptiness, an emptiness that has compassion at its core.
但是因为真的土上工从这当年可能都说可来的用完多把这种刚阳米，我的人家了学长没把起，真的那么点了的是，对那么的原天节啊的是看来考过有的也是那么来个人点了那么要过去干嘛的也是，我的人家学长没那在那么是有完了过去，听着用就或者是的确刚在确有呀，他们学到偏头嘛的也是，我听的。人家看在那说六十张纸张嘛的，是让是要不大呢，真的，结果的也众多。这里每天有点见面的是，公钱拿了出来，这里每天有点见面的是。
Guru Tseni, Lama Tseni.
这里每天呢有点见，出嘛的，那种出来公钱。
And so if the guru has no learning, reflection, and meditation, if the guru has no understanding, experience, or practice, then and the guru really has nothing, and has no good quality. No good quality can come from that guru. And if that guru has no compassion for sentient beings, then is not a suitable guru to follow, because that guru cannot benefit one, because the guru doesn't have the necessary qualities, and therefore is not able to establish disciples on the path. And if the guru, so if there's no knowledge, he cannot guide them on the path. Then if there is no compassion, even if he speaks Dharma, even if he teaches the Dharma, he can't really benefit the disciples. And therefore, one is advised to use some discernment, as not to deviate onto a worldly path by following a guru.
他这些天呢，就当他这
Hello.
啊，
Um,
呢，
so sorry, I forgot. And then in the Gongchik, it is said, Somga says in the Gongchik that one, so a guru without the necessary characteristics or the qualities, if he doesn't have the qualities, then no qualities can be imparted to the disciple.
他应该说挺常推崇的，其这而且他搞的卡布的是那么前几天嘛，马上这么搞的卡布的，那么前几天嘛，那来办这么搞的卡布的哇，前几天他这个说那么这中国的原天多那原天嘛是都是那什么，这样的说的哇。
And so nowadays, however, it is difficult to find a perfect guru with all those qualities. For example, someone like Marpa. And it's also very difficult to find a perfect disciple, just like Milarepa. That everyone has qualities and faults, but we have to look at what do they have more. And if they have more qualities than faults, then we can follow that guru.
这几天呢，这几天呢，你把这里打，这那么他把这点，他就过去个哇，我这就过去呢，他就你们俩起下的，然后都是去那层那些过来是那边吧有了，我那层过来是，他这考虑到是，那你把这买去两个月进桥会光把点，光把是那那里没别去你拿出来。
Then we come to the second verse, and so that is now once we have found a qualified guru, then next we must practice the Dharma, and we practice the Dharma in a place of isolation. So it says, depend on a hermitage that is solitary, pleasant, and blessed.
真的，托马在托上体育搞那个托上体育搞那边把我们要的是搞什么？托把这上把这些希望要在上升啊，我们的想的什么的把用个了哇。我这个做东西们呢，我光不起啊，那这我就要那那边的开心不的是，那边的开心不的是。可是开始他那边呢，这些他妈的我说来长波吧，这那个在上升这种忙不就用了。 从他就我们也没在，所说的是你们现在也嘛是搞恰当学习问题，跑学着要你看我这是，我这里这样说的是，马学吧，在土生工作去吧，土生工作去，你们培养的是啥？这里那个的是，这咱那头公办这个是公办是呢，我在公办这他们要跟你说的，我这里见到过的也是。
So first, it says when we in the beginning, as beginning practitioners, when we begin our practice of reflection, meditation, it is better to practice in a more quiet, isolated place. And because this is a place where we can sustain an undistracted mind and our practice. Because for beginning practitioners, if we are in a quite busy place, there's a lot going on, it is more difficult for us to really stay with the practice. And we may be able to practice for some time, but then if we are always in the midst of like all kinds of busyness and distraction, then due to our strong habitual patterns, these imprints in the mind, there's really a danger that we will lose our practice again and go the ordinary way. And so therefore it is that first we rely on a place of isolation that is free from the busyness of worldly life.
我但其他我做平常在公巴些都充沛其他行业我们公巴了不是吧？我在你们那公巴些这里有什么公巴些原本的可学啥的吧？我对公巴些把轻一点吧，原来其实原本的，别讲的是冲巴里把东巴我解释他讲啥了都，我这里呢他公巴了学啥冲巴拍啥了，
compa ngapja
讲运动我解了都运动看了，出些了运动看的是出些有人出。等着些了，运动抗击，在浪多的了，运动抗击，我对运动这种我比较啥说呢的呢？对讲啥这个我真是公办了不是讲啥这个不是的，我真是人家在他公办这，他从把他年我到这完成了，人家这第一次从那我明白吧
？So the word being used here, so it's in the Japanese gompa. The way it's translated in our root text is hermitage, but sometimes gompa is also translated as monastery, but it's actually not meant here because this term gompa now it kind of means temple or monastery. But in the old days, actually, it used to refer to just an isolated place, a hermitage, a place where you can practice in peace. And it is said that in terms of there's a certain measure distance, and if that gompa, that place is that kind of a distance away from a town, then it's called a gompa. And so the distance is like there's 500 kind of measurements. So basically, we don't have this kind of measurements here. But so if you take like an arm's length, but not in whole arms, like from your I guess it's from your wrist to your elbow length. So half your arm, I guess. 4 of those is one of those measurements. So then 500 of those. So I guess we can say we're 2,000 half arms away. Is if that is if it's that far away, then it's considered a hermitage or a gompa, an isolated place.
我到公巴在我这上生源吧，在我这人家没得常年我这上生源，没些娘个吧在，其他我做娘个我的在别强的在推荐中国缺的闲鱼里头，娘个我就用了最上娘来写了，偏多有点开始是吧？中文的用个啥做娘来写下偏给的，我是去娘个吧，每年在这穷古嘛米吧，我到这米吧，这切换着，俺从头切换着都这个什么，就是就我们这个吧。你那没来这帮人嘛，切换可以走走，切换这种，这没来这帮这落对抗压去都要用，马上晓得，这工作也没这样子样，特别紧，我们来这个，我到这里人那没些面，我在家来找这个，我那出这个我切换这种，我这个嘛明白，那个嘛我那可以身边家啦，够讲是带小他了，没来这帮你嘛这身边家啦，这个够讲是带小他了，个嘛可以，没来这帮你嘛这那天，他的查的说光，在我在光家，对，古马这来不是说钱了，这古马这个差不多还得啥，这大学啥了吧？晓得没来的这个，但你马拉的就钱了，那就让啤酒这给么给到，晓得可能给么给多多，有马拉家的，你看啥有马拉，就让钱了，那啤酒啊，我在他就从我在张是真的节俭东不是，那节俭大，然后生意这么大。真正没这个，然后他说我那在差不多呢，我们就没那去了，在群众我在行政中国推广那边考虑啊，说那是用这个是吧？节俭中国的，我在北桥大然后生中，然后在这里用的啊，节俭中国是说我那在那种，那去让我行政在中国过去了着，去过个行过个我这种刚刚那是当时个玩意儿，这在说说那把当了，你们去投嘛了这这条。发现着这个吧，我听社区养些家些吧，他社区是养不家些的，这就执行他没错，当然对嘛，他执行中没错，我的真的，我这就觉得也是，刚刚托过没吧，刚忙不托，什么顾客是你妈写啥写嘛，然后不是托过有的， 可是你嘛是嘛晓得生把几不行，对
한국어를
啊，看样
한국
양小送的好是吧？
다른
你那
것도
的
알아.
벌써 뒤 통자 오는 야是吧？
음,
这样的老去了。
음,
랍시에서 뭔가 니마 춘 샤르기 마베 벌써 도가 니마 베 통통을 주소제 니마 샤르기 마.
음,
제 전류 마샤도 스바 제 용도 고 니마 저 지라 메르. 어
음,
된류 요래. 어데 디베 조나 페바고 스바타 조나 페데 시르고 그래. 스타세 네 냠가 봐.
음. So that place, this compound, this isolated place, has to be away from the worldly busyness and all distractions, and also it has to be a pleasant place, a place where that makes you feel happy, a place that you enjoy. And so, so it is said there's, for example, different things one may enjoy, like rivers and forests and flowers, just a nice kind of scenery, nice natural environment. So it has to be pleasant, and also it has to be free from any kind of threats. For example, like robbers, kind of kind of criminals you may meet in the wilderness. So apparently there are certain like robbers, some kind of bandits who go around and they try to steal things from retreatants, and that could also obviously constitute an obstacle. For example, when Milarepa, when he meditated in, what was it?
샤바제 통도와 샤바도 세 바지 지 맘라레
Oh,
바가
there
잘
are two stories. Yeah, the first story was they were so Milarepa was meditating somewhere, and there were some thieves coming along, and they wanted to steal things from Milarepa, but he didn't have anything to take, and so he was also not at all afraid, and they were just amazed by how he lived, and eventually, actually, they cultivated devotion in Milarepa. And then there was another story where he practiced in Takataso, and so there was another thief trying to get something. It was at night, in the middle of the night, a thief came and tried to steal things from Milarepa's cave.
말아레바 곰자 디도 사라 샤데 꾸마도 자 남니 퓨사라 나레바 곰자 디도 사라.
So Milarepa was actually sitting in his cave at night, meditating. And while he was meditating, a thief came in and started looking for things in the cave. And Milarepa started laughing, and he said that, well, good luck with that. I don't even find anything during the daytime when it's daylight. Good luck finding something at nighttime. If you find something, and please take it. And so he was just laughing. And so, of course, if one is like that, then maybe one will not be harmed, but by a thief. But otherwise, it's still possible that one's practice could become interrupted by a thief. Or then another obstacle to one's practice could be a threat of wild animals. So there's a place where there are many dangerous wild animals like mountain lions or like leopards, pumas, and so on. And then that could also be an obstacle to one's practice. In fact, it could be an obstacle to one's life. And so one should be free from any kinds of threat. And then in terms of the place itself, it should be an open, spacious, scenic place with flowers and trees and so on. And it's good if you have some kind of open view. You can see far. If it's not really a kind of like how do you say, like claustrophobic, basically, then because that does something to your mind. And Rupan says actually in Lapche, it's a bit claustrophobic. And you feel a little bit kind of enclosed. It's not really, there's certain places where it's not very open. And actually, for example, in winter, the sun doesn't come out that much too. And maybe you have 1 hour of sun a day, and otherwise it's kind of dark, and because it's so enclosed that the sun doesn't even get in there. So it does something to the mind. So it's maybe better in the beginning to have a place that makes you naturally feel a bit light and joyful.
人不起崩变多就说的是我第三季送啥吧，我送的种啥来给送对吧？我送，年头我送的，给龙公巴的是的，那车那趟，别他那没是加我那怕他人是那加过的是，穷苦当他这他是我种，这个让咱弄这种这种没办法弄过的种多。他知道的，其他忙不没让这说啥，他刚去听了，这种多其他忙不其他的知道是忙不女人这个是这样的。学长他说，要的其实给讲呢是可是用的个给的是啊，个给的是，这里是。
Rinpoche Bungado, Shokte, Shipchushi Do, Reve,
去新加坡了。
Shingaranore. Oh.
反正他都有啥看的啥的什么。
There's this a sutra that the Buddha spoke to Kashyapa. And in there it says that it also speaks about the place, that it has to be like a threat, a free place that is, with trees and free of thieves and wild animals, or animals even like scorpions and snakes. And even it says in there that there shouldn't be too many birds, because apparently birds could get quite noisy, and it's better to not have too much noise. So the less noisiness, the better.
真的，但样的讲究这种现在伢们个问题说的是哪些的？哪些毛病呢？这个从多层面的真的样的多对于那他马英吧，英文没啥是过去了，俺说等于是伢们起的发起没啥是过去了，这六发起没把自己说说话别吧，写进去吧有吧，我真的这样的我有啥的他。
And then in the Bodhicharya Vatara, it says, also speaks about the characteristics of such a place, and it says that it should be a place that is extremely, very pleasant to you. And the Bodhicharya Vatara says actually there shouldn't be too many trees, actually, too much forest, maybe also not good. But in brief, whatever the place is, the place should be a place where that is not conducive to distraction, where you can be undistracted, where your samadhi, your meditation, your focus is not interrupted. A place where you can totally relax and focus on the practice.
这社交大概嘛从来没把社交大概从来没把他到后面就社交比较绕的嘛的。你嘛，那他不提有了，到后面就社交别想了，这个呀，叫他马上让他都有的啥的，打不起来就有嘛哇，是的，那就后来出今年了。那他的那个了，他到后面就社交是有嘛的，但是有那他到后提跟，年们去样啊，那完的头那就去了哇，我的那完头真的，让进样吧，他的，让网友来说的。让网友吧，其实真的这个恰送那这个嘛下半年可是有哈那他们那样，他特别的说说啥哇。
And then it says that this place ideally is also a place that is unowned. There's nobody owns that place. And that, of course, nowadays also is very difficult to find. It's difficult to find a place that nobody owns. Everything is owned by someone. But in the old days in Tibet, for example, we did have those places. Even now we don't. But in the past, Sadhguru said, before I left Tibet for India, it was still possible to go to a place that is unowned, nobody owns. But even now, that's not even possible anymore. And so, but another way one can see it is that even if the place has an owner, one could get the approval, the permission of the owner to practice there, and then that's also fine to practice in such a place. But it should be a place where you have some autonomy, where you are on your own, where you can practice on your own, you have freedom, and also a place that you do not become attached to. So you can use the place for however long you need, but you do not make it your own or become attached to it.
但娘们个吧是轻巧说的是这种的这个我俺说听他这俺说咱们的有人干种几波就是说小的忙波有是你那这了这地方这人们那个就是用片们忙波的这娘们其他这个嘛的也是我真的听对真的那么恐怕呢主办这些前几那边呢这让一在就着嘛在其他们的落介这边那就恐怕别强调那个就恐怕是说真的他们那里边真的的我只说了这一呢要不有的也是我这是让前这是就小家小这边真的偏给的也是我就是说着这边
And so then this the next it says that this place also, so it should be a pleasurable, a pleasant and blessed place. And so for example, a pleasant place, nowadays people go to like a nice, like a national park or so. But then you can still meet other people there, and then you can practice. So it's also a kind of an ordinary place where ordinary people go. And a blessed place is a place where the previous masters have practiced, and through their practice, they have blessed the place. And it is that if one practices in such a place, then it's easier for one to develop an experience in practice. So, for example, one can practice in any place where the past Kagyu masters have practiced, like Milarepa. And so that is a place where it is that one's mind and just naturally goes toward the Dharma, and one can focus on the practice.
这没那这边说日出那边那说了，叫那他们去给娃意思，那日出那边那说的了，叫那他们去给娃的中国，这他叫那们在教堂介绍学他名呢，都叫那们成为可虑呢给娃的这强学啥的哇。
Milarepa said that the hermitage, the isolated place, the supreme hermitage is a place where everything you do is virtuous. And that is because if you're in a place that doesn't really trigger your afflictive emotions, attachment and anger and so on, then whatever you do there will be virtuous.
我真的到这那么咱们恐怕那么亲戚马他娃是，他啥个吧？如果现在啥的差不多，他真不有啥真不啥，确实的，那长不有那确实的，如果个类是这的这样的，或者这的是用这个类是这新的，啥个一天就有了经验吧，有哪了？没得办法。
咋了？早上那个大车病，我应该找一找。
没得办法，真的凶多。
我看见了。
Milarepa?
没得办法，应该没得。这些主要的忙不有了哇。真正的当然用这个的是那的，开始那个就恐怕是请大小。
Rupean kerran kiimentuk. Kiime vatsasong. Tänä.
真的他这他真的这没那的吧，他这出事了，这个有多少嘛？这个说我那年来起的就在你妈在住那些给在当从事这些么东西了，年来起吃的，我们家的这多啊。真的在用就是在通过把这3万的呢，我这这个就可能亲戚大小的呢，第一次的，要给的意思，其他的这切给的说年来起的。
And so it is good to go to a place that is blessed by the past Kagyu masters, and not to go to like a kind of as a beginning practitioner now. As a beginning practitioner, one shouldn't go to like try to find the like kind of like rough places or dangerous places, difficult places, because then you can encounter all kinds of obstacles there, all kinds of threats that can interrupt your practice. Of course, Milarepa also encountered a lot of demons and threats, or Jigten Sumgön, for example. For example, Jigten Sumgön once found himself, found a snake wrapped around his neck while he was meditating. And he continued his meditation anyways. So of course there's these situations, but then because of that, if they have blessed those places with their practice and with their great blessings, and therefore as a beginning practitioner, if they go to such a place to practice, it's a bit better for beginning practitioners because they can receive the blessings from these masters and not expose themselves to too many threats.
Marbe kemala riba zongore. Rishu wenbe necho la rishu wenbe necho la cong kunde jebe congdu yu. Sta rishu tera sona kuwa de nyangyan de ya cong jase cong chom zhong da tera yore sichang do mala riba da rishu dem bori la ra marbe chang rishu dem.
Marpa said to Milarepa, the holy hermitage, the holy place of a hermitage, is a place where you trade in samsara for nirvana. It's like you're making a business deal. You're selling samsara for nirvana. So what he meant is that you should go to such a place, an isolated place.
tada zai ga yu kong mai zhum nian da wang zhen zhe di sa nga zong jian lai qi ya cang ma ra ga ga li he bu rei. Yin na su su da zuo de nga zuo zai xian zuo nian nian qi bi ni ka xian xie ba zang ne tu bia zai di nian nian di mian ji zuo hua xi xi zhang ne le. Wo da zhe xiu ne ya hu rei zang de me zang de. 虽然当我做的挺面面给他干部搞推特当，他的推的是哪个嘛玩意儿做，他的开始呢，这是哪个嘛玩开始了就可能就是忙着了。
And so nowadays for us in the present day, it's a little bit difficult to go to those places where the past Kage masters have practiced. But still, for us, it's most important to maybe find just a place where we can be calm, where our mind can be peaceful and we can focus on meditation, where we can develop some samadhi, a place where we do not encounter obstacles to the practice. So nowadays, times have changed. It's not like in the old days. We are really in degenerate times, and so the way things were done in the past are not always possible in the present anymore because many things have changed.
这里你妈别讲了，现在你妈应该是节课别讲不这那把来开始送了，不是不是，这我嘛放不送的说了，这把生命当嘛哇，这留下的哇那趟吧，才讲照顾呢。
Just to give one example, in the old days, for example, if you would travel to India, to Nepal, from Tibet to different countries, you could just go there. And nowadays, you can't just go somewhere. You need a passport, a visa, and so on. You can't just go there. But in the past, you didn't have to worry about these things. You just go wherever you go.
这几天呢，当我做篮球人家听完，这趟开心不的，可能说人家这趟那不讲的我话，这根本不去送我了，忙把康萨这种啊码头上面这用呢，我这种啊了特把钱呢，俺是在马车上，马这马送上面根本把这马送上面这用呢，才让人不去见的，篮球人家听完的地方大堂，等俺的钱，我是突然的，把他拿不了米送了吧。
This particular teaching, this text on the precious Garland of the Sublime Path is really very important for us as practitioners. It's really just advice for us to practice, practical advice. And Gambopa himself had said that he gave a message for future disciples, future practitioners. And he said that in those of you in the future, if you want to meet me, but if you feel that I don't have the opportunity to meet him, he's no longer here. If you have devotion and just read those two books, The Jewel Ornament of Liberation and The Precious Garland of the Sublime Path. If you look at these books, then there's no difference in reading those books and meeting myself in person.
我那时候真的当我让做工的下去做工程上去是吧？
So let me stop teachings here for this evening and we do some meditation.
哎呀，真的，这里给星几天总共写的。你就走过去。
Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind, root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Idams, and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yogins, Yoginis, and Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions. Please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana, and the innate root of virtue not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Maras, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Chupola. See you next
Thank
week.
you. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being born.
Yeah, thank you.
So I don't know why, but I was not able to, well, I have an idea why, but I couldn't upload to YouTube. We couldn't live stream it on YouTube. And so I recorded the teachings onto this computer.
Okay.
Would you have, well, actually, you won't be able to probably do it anyway. Because I was gonna say, would you know how to take those teachings from the computer and put it on YouTube? But I just realized that we can't live stream to YouTube. We can't post it on YouTube either. And it's the whole password thing. I have
don't know. I don't have any password for you now.
yeah, I know. What I think happened, and I'm like 99.9% sure what happened is because of changing the passwords. When I tried to log on today, YouTube sent an alert to Emily's phone saying, hey, can you verify? Because that's what came up on the screen, saying type in the code. But she never did. And when I texted her, she never replied to me. So I think she might have been away from her phone. And she just never got it. So I already came up with a solution for the future. What we need. And basically what we need is a second computer with a second account right here. And so whenever there's an issue with changing passwords, we don't have to rely on somebody who lives in Washington or in Texas. And whoever's operating this computer could basically verify this account
it's
here.
Emily had to be, because Emily is the main, because we joined.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. What we should do is not do that anymore. And have a second computer here um